Buenas tardes. Soy el doctor José María Castellano.
Good afternoon. I am Dr. Jose Maria Castellano, Scientific Director of the HM Hospitals Research Foundation. On behalf of the Abarca Sedon family and those of us who are part of the HM Hospitals family, I bid you welcome to this ceremony for the third edition of the International Medical Sciences Award, Dr. Juan Abarca, the Abarca Prize. It is an honor for me to act as conductor of this important ceremony for the third consecutive year in an event that is consolidated in the world calendar of science and research for its particular relevance. Dear José Manuel Miñones, Minister of Health, Mrs. Raquel Lloti, Secretary of Research in the Ministry of Science, other present officials and authorities, Dr. Sedan, honored President, along with Dr. Abarca of HM Hospitals, Chair of the hospitals, members of the Abarca family, dear Chair and members of the jury, dear awardee, institutional representatives and officials, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we all share the wish to acknowledge the merit and the unfathomable value that science, research, and medicine should have in our society. In this third edition, I would like to insist on a message that holds particular value for those of us who are part of the HM Hospitals Research Foundation and the drivers of the International Award on Medical Sciences Dr. Juan Abarca or Abarca Prize, the importance of commitment and devotion of practitioners to their patients. These two aspects, commitment and devotion, are the pillars on which this award rests, as have been to Dr. Juan Abarca during his career, and which are present in the day-to-day work of every last one of us working under the sigil of HM Hospitals. According to UNESCO, science is the largest collective endeavor of man, and it must meet the needs of society and world challenges. Support to research and sciences allows us to live longer, better, healthier lives, provides drugs that heal and relieve disease and suffering. Last but not least, science also feeds our spirit, our souls, and of course, it must help us evolve towards a more equitable, sustainable development. In total sync with this vision and with the aim of providing visibility and honor those who devote their career to scientific research, we are meeting here today to hand out the Abarca Prize, an award that extends beyond our borders but still carries our brand in the international field of health. For that reason, I would like to bring back the figure of Dr. Juan Abarca, inspiring figure of this award, who made the defense of patient-focused medicine his standard, thus changing the private health landscape in Spain.
La ciencia, el compromiso con el progreso de la humanidad, con la vida y con uno mismo. Un compromiso al que llamamos vocación y que desde nuestros orígenes ha transformado el mundo de la medicina recorriendo el camino de la investigación, en una búsqueda constante de la mejora de la salud de las personas. Abarca Prize es el reconocimiento a tantos largos días de trabajo dedicados a conseguir resultados esperanzadores, a objetivos que parecen inalcanzables y a esos proyectos ambiciosos y transformadores de gran trascendencia científica y social. Este galardón rinde homenaje a esos médicos y científicos excepcionales que, como el doctor Juan Abarca Campal, han demostrado un compromiso inequívoco con la vida, con no dar nada por imposible. En su tercera edición, el Premio Internacional de Ciencias Médicas Dr. Juan Abarca, Abarca Prize, es más que un galardón. Es el agradecimiento a todos aquellos científicos tenaces, solidarios y generosos que trabajan día tras día por nosotros, en un compromiso férreo con la salud de la humanidad, con la máxima de buscar siempre la curación del paciente y lo mejor para él.
El proceso de selección
The process to pick the awardee would not have been possible without the participation of a great international jury, a panel made up by 6 outstanding personalities from diverse fields and nationalities, including the awardee of the second edition of the Abarca Prize, Professor Philippe Sansonetti, the professor in the Pasteur Institute and considered one of the founders of cellular microbiology and the pioneer in scientific articles in the area thanks to his revolutionary research on shigellosis. Also, Spanish paleontologist Juan Luis Azuaga, scientific director of the Human Evolution Museum in Burgos, and visiting professor of the anthropology department of the University College of London, Professor Federico de Montalvo, a PhD in law and visiting professor of the ICADE, the Pontificia Comillas University in Spain, Professor Pura Muñoz Canoves, with a degree in pharmacy, a PhD in biology, and researcher of Altos Labs in the Science Institute in San Diego. Dr. Sandra Myrna Diaz, senior researcher of CONICET in the Multidisciplinary Institute for Vegetable Biology, awarded with the Peace Nobel Award in 2007, and also Professor Silvia Priori, a cardiologist and researcher in the molecular medicine from the Pavia University and from the Hospital Ife Semogeri. I would like to ask her up on stage so that she can read the minutes of the jury.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this evening. I have the pleasure to read to you the motivation that the jury has taken to identify the winner of the Abarca Prize for this year. In a telematic meeting, the jury of the Abarca Prize in the third edition made of Professor Juan Luis Arzuaga, Professor Pura Muñoz Canoves, Professor Philippe Sansonetti, Dottora Sandra Diaz, Professor Federico de Montalvo, chaired by myself, decided that the committee wanted to identify a person that has made a contribution in medicine on a problem that is a plague, a major disease, and for this reason need to be recognized. And therefore, Professor Douglas Melton has been recognized the award for his research in pancreatic regenerative therapy to cure diabetes mellitus, that, as we know, is one of the major devastating diseases of the current times. Douglas Melton is a co-director at Harvard Stem Cell Institution, investigator at Howard Hughes Medical Institute, and distinguished fellow research at Vertex Pharmaceutical. He is one of the world's leading stem cell researchers and has been working for decades to create advanced therapies for diabetes. Today, he has developed an FDA-approved type 1 diabetes cell therapy candidate with positive results in a clinical trial. About 20 years ago, Dr. Melton began his line of research to understand the development of the pancreas, defining lineage of cells that determine the cell fate, always with the translational goal of finding the reason and the technique for curing diabetes. In those days, organ development was considered by many to be impossible to dissect at the molecular level because it was too complex. But Dr. Melton considered really this task as a fascinating challenge and decided to dedicate his research to understand this organ and develop a therapy out of that. Melton showed a way forward, which was subsequently taken up by others in organ development and in tissue regeneration. For example, a seminal finding was his demonstration that adult beta cells in the pancreas are replenished by self-duplication and not by adult stem cells, as previously believed. Based on this, he demonstrated that pancreatic progenitors are induced by vascular signals, described the lineage of exocrine and endocrine cells, and showed how embryonic progenitors determine the organ size and how the pancreatic islet form and function. His lab was one of the first to show how transcription factor can directly reprogram adult cells, turning exocrine cells into endocrine cells. He was the first to envision how the implantation of stem cells-derived beta cells could serve as such a regenerative therapy. Through his insights during his career, he found way of tackling technical problems and develop and face challenges of knowledge, providing and leading to imaginative and innovative solutions. Melton has opened up fields and opportunities that are now accepted as state-of-the-art and followed by many in universities all over the world. It will probably go down in history as best and most powerful therapeutic approach for organ degeneration. It was his discovery that we're celebrating here among many others that he has developed. He may well be the first to achieve a large-scale clinical utility among the molecular therapies that are being developed in many laboratories around the world. In summary, I would like to conclude by saying that Professor Douglas Melton has made understanding discoveries that have materialized from basic research to regenerative therapy to cure diabetes mellitus. By awarding this prize, the jury wants to highlight the importance of biomedical research for the improvement of the health of the population and the evolution of society, and the relevant contribution of Professor Douglas Melton accomplished this task. Thank you very much.
Queremos felicitar al profesor Douglas Melton y destacar la relevancia de sus investigaciones pioneras en el proceso de conversión de células madre en células pancreáticas productoras de insulina, uno de los descubrimientos científicos más innovadores de nuestro tiempo que podrán hacer posible la terapia de sustitución celular para la diabetes tipo 1 y cuya aplicación tendrá importantes consecuencias médicas, incluso sociales, ya que abre la puerta a la curación de una enfermedad que padecen más de 9 millones de personas en todo el mundo. El objetivo del profesor Melton es...
Professor Melton's objective is healing diabetes, removing the present practice of regular blood controls and insulin injections, a long work in sync with the vision of Hippocrates that Dr. Abarca used to have. Please, Dr. Abarca, in representation of the Abarca Sidon family, along with José Manuel Millones, Ministry of Health in Spain, please come up on stage to hand out the Abarca Prize to Professor Melton.
Well, thank you all for coming, and please allow me to make a few remarks on this very happy occasion for me. I'm very grateful to be here tonight and to have received this award. In my view, it provides a nice connection to the distinguished previous awardees, to the Abarca Foundation, and especially to the Abarca family, which has done an admirable and much respected job in improving health in Spain and around the world with its focus on both science and medicine. As for the award itself, I consider it to be recognition of a quest to cure type 1 diabetes, a quest that has been personal for me and has been joined by many students and colleagues over a nearly 20-year period. Of course, I wish it had been faster, but I'm glad that we're at this stage now where we are near the finish line of providing cells to people so that they could make their own insulin and not have to have insulin injections. If I may, I might also say something about the award itself and the attention that's given to the award. I like to think that that attention will give people who are suffering from this disease, particularly the parents of children, hope that it won't always have to be that way, that there's the possibility with organizations like this and with the attention to science to change the course of medicine, and that you do not have to live with the disease you have at the moment. So finally, thanks to the jury, to the Abarca Foundation, and to all of you for joining in this celebration tonight. Thank you.
Muchísimas gracias, profesor, y enhorabuena.
Thank you, Professor, and congratulations. Next, we will hear Dr. José Manuel Millones, Ministry of Health from the Government of Spain.
Familia Abarca Sidon.
Dear Abarca Sidon family, members of the jury, dear awardee, dear authorities, officials of the health field, dear friends, good evening. I would like to start by giving thanks to the HM Hospitals Foundation for inviting me to this very special event for which I feel particularly proud to participate not only as a Minister of Health, but also as a researcher in health sciences. So, dear Juan, I'll have you know, you made me feel at home. Thank you for that. As a scientist, I do understand that science must go beyond the immediate implementation of its conclusions. Any applied science stems from basic science and a lot of trial and error, much like life. This is something I kept repeating, or my father kept repeating during my years of research. Science, patience, and conscience. all this devotion and dedication and patience start making sense when a technology is perfected to the extent that it can actually solve a real problem and have an impact of those who suffer a specific disease. That is the precise moment when research activity reaches its peak and becomes transcendental, which deserves our acknowledgement, amazement, and gratitude. And that is precisely what we are here to acknowledge today. Not only brilliant research merit, but also the humanistic approach of one scientist seeking to make life better and make a transcendental contribution to the health of others. Hence, the acknowledgement and tribute I would like to pay to the awardee on behalf of the ministry and on my own name, to those who have had the vision and the capability to acknowledge these values with the Abarca Prize, values that go beyond professionality. Congratulations, Juan, and the entire Abarca Sidon family. Ad Perfectum Medicinae, that's the motto of this prize, which could also be subtitled to the progress of life, which is what we're acknowledging here today. The Abarca Sidon family and foundation are making this prize tangible and acknowledgeable for millions who suffer type 1 diabetes today. We're talking about nearly 9 million people affected across the world, out of which 100,000 are from Spain. 1% of the total cases of diabetes in the world, which feel a long way from a cure for this condition of unknown origin, and which are one of the main sources of chronicity in our system.
Of people and their families, thank you so much for your work and congratulations on this important recognition. Con frecuencia en sanidad.
Frequently in the field of health, urgent precedes important, particularly when we talk about health management or fast clinical response. However, achievements like the one acknowledged today remind us that prevention is not impossible. We can continue to think about healing rather than preventing. We can find radical solutions and treat diseases rather than symptoms. We need to focus on health rather than the absence of disease. My recognition and acknowledgement to the jury who decided on such a relevant awardee with rigor and professionalism. And obviously, our recognition to all the other candidates, as I have no doubt that their research capability involves the same kind of devotion shown by our awardee this year. This is a third edition of this prize, and the Ministry of Health in Spain has always wanted to attend this ceremony as proof of the close cooperation between the public and the private systems, which I defend as the best path ahead, maybe the sole path ahead to reach these objectives that all of us here share, making people's lives better, improving and protecting our citizens' health. And certainly, I look forward to dozens or even hundreds of more Abarca prizes. And I would like to address all scientists in the field of health who make up these research networks across the whole world to thank them for their dedication, devotion, and hard day-to-day work. We need you. If there's one thing I truly believe in, is that the challenge of preserving human life can only be met by research laboratories. Do not give up. Do not stop demanding what you need to move ahead, as you are providing an extraordinarily valuable public service for which we are deeply grateful. So, I can only insist on my sincere congratulations to our awardee today, and certainly my gratefulness and my congratulations to the Abarca Sidon for making this possible. Thank you.
Muchas gracias. Damos por concluida.
Thank you. The ceremony of the handout of the third edition of the Abarca Prize has concluded. I invite you to continue to enjoy this very special evening in the Philip IV room in this hotel. Thank you very much for your attendance.